Welcome to the Visual Management System module of the Leader Standard Work series. In this module, we're going to cover visual management systems and then let you work with your coach to integrate them into your routine. So without further delay, let's jump in. I like to start this training off by having you think about how you currently manage your process. Now, take a minute and consider your answer to the following questions. How do you measure your process and its success? How can you tell when your process is in control versus out of control? And how does your team engage in problem solving? Take a minute and consider your answers. Now, there are many benefits to a visual management system, but here's some key ones I want to share with you. A visual management system allows everybody to know what the current state is and what the target conditions are, and it helps develop problem solvers. It lets you understand the current conditions at a glance so you can focus on what's important. In a good visual management system, it makes problems visible so you can resolve them. The visual management system is the tools and practices that work together to visually communicate the target condition and priorities. It allows for coordination of resources and activities around those priorities. See, a visual management system, it displays performance measures so you can see the status at a glance, which creates a forum for employees to solve problems and improve their work. Now, one thing to note is that the A3 problem-solving technique is one of the tools that you can use to connect the problems you're seeing on your visual management system to your improvement efforts. Now, let's look at some key terms that you should be aware of. In-process measures, to check if standards for quality, cost, and delivery are constantly achieved in real time or as close to real time as possible. See, these measurements, they're happening and you still have time to make adjustments before the outcome. Now, the output measures, they check to see if standards for quality, cost, and delivery are constantly achieved at the end of the process. So these measures have already happened and the process has been completed. Standards, they define the norms and minimum requirements. The target condition is wherever it is you're aiming for. It could be like a standard, an improvement objective, or data range. A target condition is the description of a process operating in a way that requires you to achieve the desired outcome. Another way to think about it is it's the pattern you expect the work to follow to achieve that desired outcome. Action limits. It's when your process is beyond the acceptable normal variation and corrective action is needed. See, it's normal to have variation in your process, and the action limits marks where that limits are. So when something goes beyond it, you know you need to investigate. The accountability process is where your team practices routine meetings where they assess and analyze the data from the visual controls. They're looking for abnormal conditions. And when there is an abnormal condition, they're going to assign a problem-solving activities and review their progress. They're also going to use this time to follow up on previous assignments. There are 4 elements to a visual management system. The first is the visual controls, making it possible for everybody to spot those abnormal conditions and take appropriate actions. The second element is the accountability process. This is where you're developing a culture of problem solvers. And the third, it is about the routine. It's the habits you and your leaders need to practice to ensure the continued success. And the fourth element, which is the hardest one, is the discipline. The discipline not to give up and have the discipline to keep the system going. So you might be asking, well, why have a visual management system? It inspires a shared goal and target conditions. And when everybody can see what those target conditions is, it allows them to focus on the vital priorities and objectives. See, the visual management system, it fosters a team setting that allows them to challenge the current process and steer towards improving those priorities. And as the team is challenging the process, it starts to reveal problems so they can resolve them. It facilitates root cause problem solving and real-time decision making to fix the problem right away. And most importantly, it develops employees as problem solvers. So at this point, you might be asking, so what do I measure? Well, you need to look at the employee requirements, which might be safety, morale, and the customer requirements, which is quality, cost, and delivery. And a way to identify those is by thinking about their needs. You want to listen. The employee might say, is my workplace physically safe? Is it psychologically safe? Is it a hostile work environment? These would fall under those safety requirements. Or the employee might say, am I supported? Am I treated fairly? Am I valued? Are my ideas welcome? These would fall under the morale requirement. When it comes to quality requirements for the customers, it might look like them saying, does it work? Does it look and feel right? Does it meet my service standards? Was it done the right way the first time? And when it comes to costs, they might say, what was the cost or expense? What was the planned or budget amount versus the actual amount? And for delivery, it might be simple enough as how long did it take? Was it received on time? Once you identify what the customer's employees' needs are, then you can start developing measures to monitor how you're doing towards achieving those requirements. So every measurement should have a target condition that is based on the customer's needs. The target condition should aim to close the gap between the current state and the desired or required performance. It should drive performance improvements. And the target condition, it should be smart. It should be simple, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and timely. The target condition should describe what does good look like. So good, effective visual controls are present when information is quickly and easily available to everyone. You can achieve this by having clear standards that are simple to understand and have clear target conditions with action limits. The visual controls should show at a glance what the current status is. What this means is someone should be able to walk up from a few feet away in a few seconds and understand the status of the process. Another way to think about it is if you are required to be there to explain your visual control, you need to simplify it. And a way you can simplify your visual control is make it binary. Pass, fail, good, bad, yes, no. A good visual control should make problems visible and have a clear, obvious direction where you need to go. The visual control should also be actively updated and used by the team. Now, in vehicle maintenance, we have some sources of automated data. M5, Power BI, and BI Launchpad. Now, BI Launchpad, it creates custom reports that pulls data from M5. So let's take a moment and go look at some Power BI metrics. So this is the Metro dashboard for the Power BI. Here you can see that they have different areas that they are measuring. And for example, this one on-time performance, it has a target of 80%. Their visual control is red because they're actually below that. This other one, they're still working on their target, and you can see that we have the different areas. So let's go into this one and look a little deeper. All right, so here we have the status at a glance. Below it, we have some trend data. So this is our target line and trend data over time, how we are doing achieving that. And over in Power BI, you can actually use different filters to look at the data from different perspectives. For example, here you can look at a period of time. This will help when you try to do your deeper root cause understanding of what's currently happening. Let's go ahead and go back to our presentation. So how do you use your visual management system? You use it by checking the process performance by looking at the visual controls and comparing it to the target conditions. So you can compare the actual to the target conditions. You're going to ask, is there a need for improvement? You're going to be a coach and ask open-ended questions to learn about root causes from the people who do the work. And you want to also go and check your management system and see how it's doing. You want to check to see if the measurements are being updated. Are they being useful for the team? Are the team actually using them? Is the team huddling? Is everybody attending those huddles? Is there an agenda that being followed? A good question is there agenda being followed even when the leader is not present? Are your leaders being coaches? Are they telling less and asking more? Are they doing open-ended questions and listening to the people who do the work? So how the visual control flows and aligns through our King County is through tier boards. There are tier boards at the different levels, and the strategy flows down from the executive level through the different levels to the shop floor. See the yellow arrow? And then the information flows up from the shop floor, so the data flows up to the different levels, to the top level to say, how are we at achieving those strategies? See the blue arrow. The purpose of the tier boards is to communicate the current condition and monitor how we are doing to achieve our target conditions. As with any tool in the continuous improvement toolbox, you should always be thinking about improving the process. We recommend the plan, do, check, act cycle, but you can use any improvement cycle. This is just a simple one. It's really about ensuring that things that we are doing, we're not just doing because, that's the original metrics we made and, we have always been doing it that way. You really should be ensuring that you're doing what is the best possible way. The ultimate goal of the visual management system is to know the status at a glance and make problems visible to everyone. Thank you for spending time reviewing the contents of this training in this module of Leader Standard Work. And be on the lookout for the next module as you take your next step in your journey as a leader.